Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Global Economic Perspective with Raymond. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is now captivating billions of viewers around the world. Every 4 years, football once again becomes the world's common language. Yet, behind the excitement on the pitch lies something far bigger than sport itself. Today, the FIFA World Cup is no longer simply a football competition. It has evolved into one of the world's most sophisticated commercial ecosystems, generating enormous economic value through broadcasting rights, sponsorships, tourism, hospitality, merchandising, infrastructure investment, and urban development. In many aspects, the World Cup has become one of the largest economic events on Earth. Today, let us explore an important question. Who really wins the World Cup economically? Is it FIFA, the host nations, business, or the global economy as a whole? The World Cup has undergone an extraordinary transformation over the past 3 decades. When television became global in the 1990s, FIFA realized that football was no longer merely a sporting event, it becomes premium global content. And today, media companies are no longer purchasing football matches. They are purchasing billions of viewers. Brands are no longer sponsoring teams simply for local exposure. They are buying emotional engagement with consumers. Governments are no longer competing just to host football matches. They are competing for international visibility, tourism growth, foreign investment, and long-term economic development. This explains why every World Cup now resembles a month-long global economic summit wrapped inside a football tournament. According to FIFA's financial reports, broadcasting rights remain the single largest source of revenue, accounting for around 45% of total income during the 2019 to 2022 cycle. Marketing partnerships, sponsorships, hospitality package, licensing and ticket sales make up the remaining major revenue streams. FIFA generated a record US $7.57 billion during the quarter 2022 commercial cycle, compared with approximately US $6.42 billion for the Russia 2018 cycle. For the current 2023 to 2026 cycle, FIFA originally budgeted around US $11 billion in revenue, driven largely by the expanded 48-team tournament and significantly more matches. In other words, football has become one of the world's most profitable forms of intellectual property. Many people assume ticket sales are the primary source of income. In reality, they represent only one component of a much larger commercial machine. The first and most valuable asset is broadcasting rights. Television rights have become the financial engine of the World Cup. Every major broadcaster competes furiously for exclusive rights because football consistently delivers one of the few remaining forms of live programming capable of attracting enormous audience simultaneously. Unlike streaming dramas or movies, live sports cannot easily be watched later without losing excitement. And that makes advertising around live football exceptionally valuable. For calendar 2022, FIFA earned over US $3.4 billion from broadcasting rights alone. The 2026 tournament is expected to generate even higher broadcasting revenues because of the expansion from 64 matches to 104 matches. While North American time zones provide favorable viewing windows across Europe, Asia, and the Americas. Second, it comes sponsorship. Global brands such as Adidas, Coca-Cola, Visa, Hyundai, McDonald's, and many others regard the World Cup as one of the few truly global marketing platforms. Unlike domestic sports leagues, the FIFA World Cup reached almost every country simultaneously, and this creates unparalleled advertising efficiency. For multinational corporations, the World Cup represents global consumer attention concentrate into 1 month. Thirdly, it comes ticketing and hospitality. Premium hospitality packages have become increasingly important, especially for multinational corporations entertaining clients. The 2026 tournament has introduced dynamic pricing in many markets, allowing ticket price to fluctuate according to demand. While controversial among fans, this pricing strategy significantly increased FIFA's commercial returns and illustrates how sport organizations are increasingly adopting airline and entertainment-style revenue management models. Fourth is merchandising and licensing. Official jerseys, footballs, souvenirs, digital collectibles, video games, and licensed consumer products create billions of dollars in additional commercial activity. And today, football merchandise is no longer simply collectibles. It has become part of global consumer culture. However, FIFA is not the only beneficiary. The World Cup creates extensive spillover effects throughout the broader economy. Hotels operate at near full occupancy, airlines at international capacity, restaurants, retail shops, transportation providers, entertainment venues, and tourism operators all experience substantial increase in business. And financial institutions benefit from increased payment transactions. Technology companies provide cybersecurity, ticketing platforms, cloud computing, and broadcasting infrastructure. Construction firms participate in stadium upgrades and transport improvements. Even temporary employment rise significantly during the tournament. And this demonstrates what economists call the multiplier effect. $1 spent by an international tourist circulates through multiple sectors of the economies before leaving the country. This is why governments frequently justify World Cup investment not solely through football, but through wider economic stimulus. Looking across the three most recent World Cups reveals how rapidly the tournament's business model has evolved. Russia 2018 generated approximately US $5.4 billion in FIFA revenue. Qatar 2022 reached a record US $7.57 billion. The current 2026 commercial cycle was initially budgeted at approximately US $11 billion, reflecting a dramatic increase driven by expansions from 32 to 48 participating nations and from 64 to 104 matches. The increase is not simply due to inflation. It reflects a fundamental expansion of FIFA's commercial inventory. More matches means more broadcasting hours, and more matches create additional sponsorship exposure. More host cities produce more hospitality opportunities, and more participating nations generate larger television audience. Every additional match becomes another commercial product. From an investment perspective, FIFA has effectively scaled its business model without fundamentally changing its core product, and this is an exceptionally efficient strategy. Perhaps the biggest structural change is that the 2026 World Cup is jointly hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The following edition in 2030 will also be spread across multiple countries. But why has FIFA moved away from the traditional single-host model? The answer is economic efficiency. Hosting a modern World Cup has become extraordinarily expensive. Stadium constructions alone can cost billions. Transportation infrastructure, airports, rail systems, telecommunications, security operations, and accommodation capacity all require enormous investment. Many previous host countries struggled to justify this cost after the tournament end. Several stadiums built specifically for World Cups became abandoned. by distributing hosting responsibilities among several countries. Infrastructure costs are shared. Existing stadiums can be utilized more efficiently. Transportation networks already in place reduce unnecessary investment. Economic risks become diversified. And meanwhile, tourism benefits are spread across multiple regions. This represents a significant evolution in mega event economics. Instead of asking one nation to bear all costs, multiple countries share both investment and rewards. For governments, this substantially improves return on investment. Is hosting actually profitable? And this remains one of the most debated questions in sports economics. The answer depends on who we are talking about. For FIFA, the answer is clearly yes. FIFA owns the commercial rights and captures the most valuable revenue streams, including broadcasting, sponsorships, licensing, and premium hospitality. For host cities, the answer is more complicated. They often bear substantial expenses relating to transport, policing, security, crowd management, and urban service. Some studies suggest that headline economic impact figures may overstate the lasting benefits, particularly where infrastructure has limited long-term use. However, profitability should not be measured solely through direct financial returns. Successful World Cups can permanently enhance a country's international image, and they can accelerate infrastructure modernization. They can increase tourism for years afterwards. They can strengthen diplomatic influence, and they can improve investors' confidence. These intangible assets often generate value well beyond the tournament itself. If hosting is so expensive, why do countries continue bidding? Because the World Cup offers something money alone cannot easily purchase: global visibility. For 1 month, billions of people watch the host nation's cities, culture, transportation system, hospitality, and technological capabilities. The World Cup becomes the world's largest national branding campaign. For emerging economies, it signals development. For developed economies, it reinforces global leadership. For cities, it accelerates regeneration. For business, it creates commercial opportunities. And for politicians, it showcases national confidence. The World Cup is therefore not merely an expense. It is a strategic investment in national reputation. The modern FIFA World Cup represents far more than football. It demonstrates how sport, media, technology, finance, and geopolitics have merged into one integrated global industry. Football remains the emotional center, but economies has become the driving force. The future of the World Cup will likely feature more multinational hosting arrangements, greater digital engagement, expanding streaming revenues, AI-powered broadcasting, dynamic ticket pricing, and increasingly sophisticated commercial partnerships. In many ways, the World Cup offers an important lesson for investors. The greatest value often lies not in the product itself, but in the ecosystem built around it. Football may last only 90 minutes, but the business surrounding football generates value for years. Thank you for watching Global Economic Perspective with Raymond. I'm Raymond Chan, and I'll see you in our next episode. Bye-bye.